two categories, I guess.
I don't know if that's right. Black face and white face.
Cool, kind of. What do those breeds specialize in? Maybe
Blackface or bigger.
Blackfish or meat?
meat, yeah. Somewhat, yep. Mostly blackface are mostly meat, yeah. So we're gonna talk about meat breeds, and then under meat breeds there's hair sheep and wool sheep, and then sheep that are that they produce wool. And then we also have dual purpose sheep. So these two sheep, these are probably the less common of the meat breeds. They're hair sheep. We actually really like hair sheep because they're really low maintenance. They actually kind of have the hair of a goat. They do grow wool, but they end up sloughing it on their own, so you don't really have to shear them. So they're super low maintenance. And they are really good producers. They make great meat, and they sell really easily for meat production. So this first one on the left is a white Dorper, and this one is a Katahdin. Has anybody heard of those two breeds?
No.
No?
Yeah, I've had some of Dorpers.
Dorpers are one of our favorites. We used to have about 20 of those. Okay, and then wooled meat breeds. Does anybody see one that's familiar to them up here?
The bottom left is south down.
Bottom left, south down? Yep, what about you guys? Bottom left is south down? Okay, so let's go through these a little bit.
His name.
So these are gonna be, I think, the most common breeds that we see most often. So let's go through them and see what kind of deciphers them between and how to tell which one is which. So a Dorset, they're gonna be kind of a bigger frame sheep, and they are mostly white. They're very white on their face and on their legs. Sometimes it's easy to get Dorsets and Southdowns mixed up. Just remember that, what's the difference between a Southdowns and a Dorset based on what I just said?
There's Dorsets and it has a different shape.
Yep, and Southdowns, yep.
The Dorset base is white, and there's like the wet, and Southdowns has wool on its legs.
Yep, and then Southdowns are gonna have kind of like a mousier color on their face and on their legs. And then over here we have our blackface sheep, kind of what you guys were talking about before. Up on the top we have Hampshires. What is a noticeable difference between those two on the right side?
The Suffolk.
You want to go back here?
The Suffolk has a full black face, and the Hampshire has white and strong face.
Yep, Hampshires always have that wool that kind of goes in the channel of their eye. That's a good indicator. Yep.
The Hampshire looks bigger.
Yep, I think Hampshires are usually tend to be a bigger frame sheep. Also, yep, back there.
That the Suffolk,
Suffolk, yep.
has more hair than the Hampshire.
Yep, they might. That one just might be a little bit heavier wool than the Hampshire. It might not have been sheared more recently. Another big indicator is Suffolks are usually going to have really black legs. When Hamps, these are rams up there, so it's not really a great indicator, but when they have a lot of leg shag, it tends to be lighter colored, and then the Suffolks aren't going to have as much of that shag, and it's going to be really dark. So, for example, we can thank my daughter for letting me steal her toys for a little while. So I would call this a blackface cross. Why do I say that? Obviously this is a toy and it's not going to be like a real animal. But its face is very black, and then its legs have really long hair, and it's kind of white. So this is what you guys might see a lot in the shows and at county fairs and state fairs shown up. So any questions on those so far? Okay. Now let's get into some wool breeds, kind of the funky looking ones. So there's 3 different kind of classifications of wool breeds. There's fine, there's medium, and there's long. We're just going to talk about fine and long for now. What do you guys think fine wool is used for?
To make coats?
Not quite, but it can be, maybe. Yep.
To make clothing?
Yep, so your fine wool is gonna be like yarn, and if you knit maybe, or your like nice clothes that are like made out of wool, the really soft clothing. So these two guys, that far one is a Rambouillet, and a merino. These are probably gonna be your most common fine wool breeds. And an indicator to tell that they're fine wool is their wool is so packed and there's gonna be a lot more fibers in those. If you got up close and like parted it, they're gonna be really soft and really thin. Any questions on those? I'm not gonna be your wool expert, but I can sure try if you have any questions. And then long wool breeds. What's your long wool gonna be for? Yep.
Yarn.
No.
Clothes.
Yep.
Clothing.
Your warm clothes. Long wool is really sturdy. It's durable. It's gonna do your socks, your hats, your winter sweaters. They're gonna be really strong. Let me know what these two breeds are. No. This is a Romney and a Lincoln.
It doesn't even have eyes.
Okay, so then, along with your meat and your wool breeds, you're gonna have dual purpose breeds. The ones that kind of do it all. They have multiple purposes. So that first one, I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about what this one is in a Wasi, but I thought it was pretty cool, and it'd be cool to have a herd of those, or a flock of those, I should say. But they specialize in milk, meat, and wool, so they just do it all. The middle one, does anybody know what that one is? That one's a more common one. A Columbia. These are really common in breeding flocks, but also feedlots. They are great for meat and wool. And this last one is a polypay. Does anybody know what a polypay might be good for? What does poly mean? Poly means many. So polypays are going to be really a maternal breed. They can carry 2, 3, 4, even 5 babies sometimes. A lot of people like to use polypays as recips, so they put the embryos in polypays because they can carry a lot of babies. They also like them for feedlots because you don't have to have a ton of ewes to have a large production, and they're great for meat and wool as well. Okay, so do these guys look familiar to you at all?
No.
So that far one is from a show from when I was a kid.
Those are same.
No, those are from Zootopia, those two are, yep.
I
So,
remember the left
based on what we just learned, so that was a show from when I was a kid called Shaun the Sheep. Based on what we just learned, what kind of sheep do you think those are?
Cross.
Blackface.
Blackface cross.
Hampshire.
Do they have any white on their face? And look, I know it's hard to tell.
So
Yep, they got really black legs and really black faces, so they're gonna be our Suffolks. I know it's a cartoon, but it's kind of fun to put a breed to those. And then these two, if I were to guess,
the middle one's Dorset.
That's a Dorset.
it could be. Definitely could be.
The other one's not.
And then the other one, maybe a whatever, let's see. Merino? Maybe that one?
Yeah.
Merino?
A Rambolay.
They kind of look the same. Yeah. Next time you watch a cartoon with some sheep in there, see if you can pick a breed and put them on. All right, so now we're done with breeds. We're going to talk about parts of sheep. So now, does anybody have any pencils, or do you need pencils?
I don't.
Okay, we're going to do a little homework, or a little activity. Pass those out. You can take off, let's see, do you want one? Yeah, I only have 8, so I'm going to do, okay. So tear off your word bank and use that. There's no extra, so cross them off as you go. And you don't have to know them all, but put an answer in every blank. There's not going to be any extra words, there's going to be any empty blank.
Just start, which ones do you think you're going to start at?
I know, it's kind of tough, there's a lot of them.
Probably here, so then go find the space.
And I'll give you,
And just wait.
let's do 7 minutes.
Okay, cool. So start down the list.
Oh, and if anybody wants a 3D model to have a little bit of a closer look, might help. I'm gonna share with back here. Am I gonna talk one? I'm gonna share. I know I only have 2. I wish I had more.
It is the
You don't really? Okay, put that there. And then for the ones you don't get, we'll go through as a group, so it's not. Okay, then put a check mark